Big news in football today, and look, this is NFL and college involving Jim Harbaugh, who got handed a 4-year show cause penalty for recruiting violation stemming back from the dead period during COVID in 2020. Now, this is independent of the sign-stealing investigation in which Harbaugh suspended for 3 games. They suspended him again for 3 games. This is different from that. This goes all the way back. It's nice the NCAA getting around to this 4 years after this happened.
Well, why would you change your processes that you've been doing for all these years?
We'll make sure these kids who are in 7th grade, they know the value of making a choice like that. Hey, you wanted to go there. Good luck.
Yeah, he's getting ready to collect his pension, and now we're going to come down on guy worked a long career for the post office or some sort of civil service. Like, wait, I did what? When? How? Yeah, so that's what we do.
So what does this mean, right? He gets a 4-year show cause order for impermissible contact with recruits and players when access was restricted during COVID. Meaning, if he goes back to college football, he is under sanctions for 4 years, and the first year he is hired, he is not allowed to coach. So if a school wants to hire him, that first year he cannot be involved with the football team. Jim Harbaugh is saying, I did the college football thing. I won a national championship with my alma mater. You really think I'm going back? Really, guys? Do you think I'm going back? Think about it. Look, this is one of those first things that tells you a couple before. There's a big takeaway from this. But first of all, you could see how the NCAA really hates Jim Harbaugh, right? We're going to come back at you after this and give you this penalty 4 years after this happened, after we just suspended you for 3 years, or for 3 games last game. You suspended for yourself because you wanted to get ahead of the NCAA for 3 games. I mean, this tells you really, when we said all last year, remember, the NCAA hates Jim Harbaugh, man. They hate him. They absolutely hate him. And this shows you. Now, is this a big deal? No, because Harbaugh's gone. He's in the NFL. If I thought for a second he would come back to college football, I would say, okay, you know what? This is a big deal. But he's going to coach. He's going to coach in the NFL, and then he's going to be done. He had his dream job. He's not going to go back and say, I'm really going to start over with a small program in the South, and really, I'm going to build them back. I'm going to go coach at Vanderbilt, or I'm going to go. No, he's not going to do that, right? So this is not that big a deal. It's the NCAA saying, hey, we want to show you that we still hate you. Want to make sure you don't remember. Hey, we still hate you. Just know that we hate you. And if you ever really wanted to come back, we want to close the door as much as possible. So all this stuff, all the NCAA, look what the NCAA is doing to Jim Harbaugh after he is gone from college football and into the NFL. They hate him. They have had the dislike for him. That's why we got today.
Well, you go through the processes and you wait till it all comes out. He said, look, I've got nothing to apologize for. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. What if Roger Goodell decided to, hey, I set precedent many years ago when a college kid broke some rules and went and traded some stuff for some tattoos and suspended Terrell Pryor and upheld it for 5 games? What if Roger Goodell went out of his way to say, hey, you know what? We've done this before. He won't.
I want to say the NFL has done that. The NFL has done that before. If I remember right, they did suspend a coach. A coach got hired at some point, and because of what happened in college, he had to be suspended for the beginning of his run. I'm trying to think who it was. It escapes me off the top of my head. But I know that's happened in the past. Not saying he's going to do this, but I know that's actually happened in the past.
Yeah, so you've got the precedent has been set. Again, don't believe that it'll happen. But with Harbaugh, I mean, his agent had the greatest statement ever written. Made his high school yearbook analogy, whatever. It was a little bit clunky, but the point still held of, your high school while you're in the middle of your college career coming back and saying, hey, you didn't sign this yearbook thing. Again, it could have been a better analogy, but the point just being he's got $80 million. He's in the pros. Beat it. Go pound sand, which is really where we're at in this. And if Harbaugh would come back, the only place he's coming back is if Michigan's gone to hell. And he comes back to save and restore. Although, folks, in all of these stories with Harbaugh, I always got to remind folks, remember when you were all calling for him to be fired before all of the last couple of years, which coincidentally have all the Stallions allegations tied to him? Just throwing it out there. He was not getting it done at Michigan, and we were on air yelling at folks saying, hey, what did you expect? You got Schembechler and a long line of, and then Lloyd Carr and a long line of, And this coming from the Northwestern guy, I know. But it's not about my team. It's about the history of Michigan football. But for Jim Harbaugh, this is a whole lot of nothing. He's going to probably have another great statement, and with his relentless enthusiasm and attack the day, talk about drinking milk or something like that. And they're going to go on and get ready for the 2024 season. For Moore and everybody else still at Michigan, is there stuff to be concerned about? Yeah, because clearly they've got an axe to grind. So for those still in the program, this doesn't end. But for Jim Harbaugh, no. I mean, he's not going back anytime soon, because that would have meant catastrophic returns from the Chargers. And I see billboards alongside accident attorneys. That is not happening.
See, here's the thing, though, is I'm going the other way. I don't think it's a big deal for Michigan either. Like all this stuff the last couple of days, of course, this plays into the NCAA investigating Michigan. They found out Sharon Moore, the head coach, had texts with Connor Stallions that were deleted on the day that the report came out that, hey, Michigan's got somebody videotaping other sidelines. So here they are coming in, and the NCAA is coming to town for Michigan. Here they are doing it right when the season's going to start, which is just bleeping ridiculous, right? This tells
me everything they've done forever, right?
Yeah.
This is the NCAA, because they would have been lost in the news cycle if it happened in May.
Yeah, but this is something that I'm not worried about, because if they really were going to do this, they would have already hammered Michigan if they wanted to, right? Michigan, their head coach served, in theory or in reality, a half-year suspension last year. Mm-hmm. Yes, you want to go after him, but he's gone now. So you give him this big one. This is the big thing to say, okay, Jim Harbaugh, you're gone now. We're gonna show you we hate you. We're going to make it really hard for you to come back to college football. Okay. Are you really going to come down incredibly hard on Michigan now after this? Probably not. All right, first of all, Sharon Moore, what's he going to get? Maybe he gets a 3-game suspension to start the season, which is not that big a deal. There will be some kind of minor penalty that Michigan will be able to overcome. It's not going to be something that sets them back where, hey, you're ineligible for the postseason.
Yeah, no, you're not getting
we're going to take the national title away. No, it will be something very minor. I'm not worried about that for Michigan. And for the other reason is because, are you really going to do this to Michigan? Michigan is the biggest of big business for college football. They are the rock star program. They wouldn't do this to Alabama, right? They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it to anybody. With Nick Saban. No, that's not happening. Michigan is big business. Michigan is great for college football. If you're talking about an ineligible Michigan team, suddenly it's whoa, whoa, whoa. You have networks on the phone going, we got all these Michigan games we pay. Hang on a second. Hang on. Hey, didn't Michigan do enough? Didn't you penalize Harbaugh? Didn't he have a 6-game suspension next year? Michigan's not. We got Michigan, Iowa. We got Michigan State. We got Michigan, Penn State. Hang on a second. Michigan is the official big noon kickoff team of Fox. Oh, you're going to do that? Michigan is big business for college football. Do you really think they're going to be ineligible? Again, like any other big program, this is not something where all of a sudden, in retrospect, now a year later, they're going to say, oh, yeah, now we're going to hammer you. It will be something minor, and then in the totality, you can say, all right, so you had a half a season for Harbaugh, you had whatever gains for Sharon Moore, whatever you want to get some sort of probationary period. You can't have any more infractions, or they'll cut scholarships a little bit. There will be that kind of stuff, but it's not going to be anything Michigan can't overcome. It's okay, here it is, but you should be okay, but we want to show you that we're nervous about this. We don't want this to happen again. Again, look, they should have handled it. If they really wanted to handle it, they would have said, Michigan, you're ineligible for the playoff. Go through the whole season. After the Ohio State game, guess what? You're ineligible for the playoff. That way it's okay, well, you're taking somebody else. Somebody else is coming in. Somebody else is going to be on TV in the final 4 games, and it's not as big a deal. You had a chance to get it done. Now suddenly a whole year later, you're going to come back and say, okay, now we're throwing the book at you. I'm not concerned. It'll be very minor for Michigan.